All right, good morning. How's it going? Happy Sunday. I got a new. How do I point? I got a new PNG tuber avatar that I've been working on this weekend, and yeah, I will probably still be keeping the chibi Sabin stuff for like the emotes, but I think I'm gonna be changing other like profile pic things on Twitch and YouTube to be more this style, just to switch things up a little bit, and yeah. But anyway, enough of that. What are we doing today? Well, of course, working on a game. We've been at this for a little while now. I think I don't even know what stream day it is. 20 something of working on games in Godot, and it's been a number of weeks that we've been working on this Zom Defense tower defense game. And there's of course lots of things to do. But let's see. I think we are going to continue working on our is it issue 121? Let's go over to GitHub. This one. Level 2 Campfire Survivors. That's right. Last week, I spent a bunch of time on Blender, actually, on stream, which I'm going to have to get more comfortable doing. But doing some modeling. And then we did some vector art, I think, to make a fire. How is the that's the level. Okay, it's pretty quiet just because it's quiet right now. I might turn up just a little bit. Okay, so anyway, yeah, so issue 121 was the branch. So we got the model for like the logs and the rocks, and then we got a billboard sprite for the flame. I think I may have done the animation on that after the stream. So let's pull the game up and see what's going on in there. So this is in scenario 2.tscn. Oh, I'm not in the right branch yet. Let me switch over. All right, so now re-import things. And now there should be a scenario 2. There we go. Which is that. And then our campfire has an animated sprite. And we can actually play this so that we can see what it looks like without having to run the game even. Which, for someone who has done very little in the way of animated vector art like this, I'm pretty happy with it. So what I ended up doing, because this was something I did off after, I think Sunday afternoon actually last week, was so we did the flames in Inkscape. What I did was I imported that into Blender, and then I was able to pull apart the different parts of the flame. So like the different, what do you even call that? The like you can see the parts that are moving and reshaping. So pulled those apart and then animated, having those move with different timings. Yeah. So it wasn't too bad. That was like longer than it will take me next time. But let's say it was an hour or two. But let's see if there we go. And we got some light effects and stuff. So if we run the game, how about that? Let's see, things to do. Let's turn off the music, because that's going to conflict with our background music. Let me turn off desktop audio. We don't need that for now. And that way you won't hear my Discord sounds. You're welcome. We can load game, which lets us select slots, which is not what we want to do. If we click start game, oh, weird. Okay, something is broken there, because obviously we were in a slot. Yeah. Just ignore that. So what I was expecting to happen the first time when I clicked start game was we would come to level selection, because we were already in a save slot. But yeah, bugs. How about them? So anyway, here we go. Here's our scene. There aren't any zombies, but it's very atmospheric, kind of dark and foggy sort of situation. So there's a bunch of things we need to do, and I think I actually made a to-do list of things to do. So let's get on that. I think in my project, here we go. So I have this just filtered down now to the things that I want to do in this phase 2. So I've broken up this work of doing this. It's kind of funny to me, just because kind of the other practice games that I did on stream were things where I just had a to-do list. But part of making this, like, being serious in my mind about working on a project is to kind of like, there are multiple rounds of like refining it, of putting together a prototype, testing things out, building out features, testing out the feature, and part of that is, you know, deciding what can be done later when other things are sorted out. So in this case, I have a bunch of different phases broken out here, and we are in phase 2. So phase 1 was just like the initial, like, basically getting to where we are now, and phase 2, so like all the core game mechanics of, like, you can click on zombies, you can place obstacles, pathfinding, achievements, tech tree, all of the core parts of the gameplay. And then phase 2 is where we start adding more content to be able to like stretch out that system and kind of reveal what the problems are, and doing more playtesting as part of that, I think, too. So we have this task, which is to build level 2. And so I remember this now. So last week I had a thing in VS Code, just a file with the checklist of things, and so I moved this into here. So this may not be everything that we'll do for this. In fact, here's kind of a higher level summary that Copilot wrote for me a number of weeks ago at this point, of things we want to see in the level. But in the short term, we want to do a few things. We want to add a sound effect for the campfire. We want to add zombies to the scene. Like, we want to actually have zombies spawn in, so we can do that. I don't know that we need to tweak lighting. I think we'll have to see once we have trees, which is the trees and rocks for the scene, how that looks. And then we want to mix up the survivors, right? We're going to have 3 survivors. They shouldn't be clones of each other. So we do need to have multiple, at least skins, if not models, for them. What is going to be... I think maybe we can start with something that should be easy, but we'll see how it goes, which is add sound effects for campfire crackling. So, why not go over to Open Game Art and grab some sound effects. And so I'm just going over to my other screen so I can log in. Because unfortunately the password autofill doesn't work, so I have to like go into password manager and stuff. Okay, so I'm logged in now, and if we go over to browse, and we can browse not music, but sound effects. We can do, how about if I just search for campfire? Nope. Okay. What's the difference between search versus title? Ooh. Laser fire fireplace sound? Oh, you won't be able to hear that. Maybe I won't be able to hear that either. Where's that coming through? Fire crackling? Okay, so that's coming through the music channel. Which is a problem. I need to sort out my... Oh, maybe... at some point, I should look into how to make my own sound effects. That could be a fun exercise. Nope. Nope. Maybe just search for crackling. Is it really spelled crackling? Maybe. That's the same one. I think I'm gonna grab this one for now as kind of a placeholder. So I'm going to do what I always do, which is to add this to my collection. And we will download. We'll put that into audio, SFX, crackling.wav. Okay, so how is this going to work? I think what we do is we just go in here, we add a child node. There's some kind of audio stream player. Plays audio with positional sound effects. Create. And then we add a new audio stream WAV. No, I don't think that's how we do that, actually. We want to go to... Oh, I don't know what I just clicked. Go away. Audio, SFX, crackling. We just drop that in there, right? Yes. Autoplay on. Max distance. I think I do like the idea of positional sound. I don't think we'll want to max distance because of the nature of the game. We're kind of abstracted away. And then for bus, we set this to sound effects. And then I think that's it. What happened with what's the complaint here? A light scale does not affect the visual size of the light. Yes. Did I do something to the scale? Okay. So let's try this out. Turn desktop audio back on. And we will start game. See, that's a bug. It definitely should go to the level chooser. Because you can see it's loaded information that the Also, what's up with the lighting? Oh, so loud. Hold on, let's turn desktop audio down a little bit. Return. Okay, start game, and then we come to the selector. So it's supposed to do this if you've played level 1. It takes you to level selection. I say level, but scenario 1. Right? So when you start the game for the first time, when you start a new save, you hit start game, it takes you to this first scenario, and you have to get through the first scenario, because that's where we're going to begin the tutorial. I don't hear anything. Do you hear anything? No, go back to the game. I just want to select the node. So we can do that. So if I go remote and I look at the scene tree, there's scenario 2, campfire, bunch of stuff, audio stream player, autoplay. Maybe playing needs to be set. I thought autoplay. If true, audio plays when the audio stream player 3D node is added to the scene tree. So you would think that would work. Doppler tracking is interesting. Neat. Oh, do I need to set it to loop? Yeah, I probably do need to set it to loop. Yeah, let's go back to local. Stream pause playing us. Okay, let's stop the game. How do I... Oh, maybe this is a import thing? Yes. Max rate, normalized trim. Forward. Okay. Right, so now... What do these do? The end loop point to use when loop edit mode is forward, ping pong, or backwards. This is set in samples after the beginning of the audio file. The value of 1 uses the end of the... Okay, so this should be -1. Okay. Loop begin. Okay. So I guess there was not any loop information in the actual file. Forward, standard audio looping plays the audio forward from the beginning to edit loop end and returns to edit loop begin. Ping pong, and then so that ping pong plays it forward and then back, I guess. Okay, so let's try that. At some point, I'll have to troubleshoot what's going on with the menuing. I don't hear anything, do you? Did I click re-import? I didn't. That's hold on. That would help. Well, if nothing else, our intro level is very quick to complete. No, nothing. What's going on? Why is it not working? Campfire. Audio stream player. Playing autoplay. That part's good. Max distance. Panning strength. Volume. Maybe we just need to turn the volume up. Yep. Scales the panning strength for this node by multiplying the base audio general 3D panning strength with this factor. High values will pan audio from left to right more dramatically. So I want to just turn this up to see if this is working. So I can tell in the, it may be hard to tell. It is technically working in the sense that I can see in the audio meter, left versus right, but it's not, oh, interesting. Pitch scale. Playback type. Emission angle enable. If true, the audio should be attenuated according to the direction of the sound. Interesting. Attenuation model. Inverse square. Logarithmic. Interesting. Now I'll say that sound effect a little too crunchy, maybe. It could be. I probably want attenuation, but we're gonna do. Okay, I think this is good enough. Because honestly, this is like the smallest thing. But I thought it would be good to start here because it's a fun little thing. So if we stop the game, let's see here. Did that keep our settings? Nope. Was there anything else that I changed that I need to? Nah. Okay. Great. We did it. We have... like I said, it's such a small thing that's not... I guess I shouldn't think of it that way. So all really cool things are made up of a bunch of small little things that add up to you know, an experience, I guess. I don't know. But it's something that was on the list because I thought it would be cool to do. So we did it. Shall we add zombies? I think I want to add trees and rocks first. So, scenario 1, we have some trees. They're not the most amazing trees, but we'll add them here to be able to have some. What did I do? Edit loop. Okay, so somehow Control V is doing something odd. Can I copy? Paste. Great. Let's have a top-down view. And no. Let's see, can I just have like move handles? There you go, okay. I want to make this feel like a pretty closed in, like the idea is there is supposed to be a narrative to what's going on with the scenarios, where you start off and you're driving along and your car breaks down and it's the zombie apocalypse. And then you survive that scenario, you survive that situation, and you are you make some friends along the way, and you go into a forest, and suddenly I'm in a what's that song? Anyway, you find yourself in a forest with some friends, and you make a campfire because it's dark and cold. And then more zombies from the trees. Right, so what does this situation look like? Sure. And of course, we should definitely have tree variety, tree shape, tree size variety, those things, but that will come at some point. Okay, I think, can I, does it make sense to just make a node just for the purposes of organizing a bunch of models versus having a long list? Is that a thing people do? All right, so we have an enemy spawner, and it has spawn areas. Just set the ground. They can just spawn anywhere. Would not necessarily make a lot of sense. What we probably want to do is make a mesh that is essentially the perimeter of this, so that the zombies can spawn anywhere along the perimeter of the map. So let's do that. What's a good way to do that? I guess I could... Do I want to go ahead and make a mesh in Blender for the ground? It's going to be basically flat, right? But then I can cut out the metal, and that can be that. Maybe, but we don't need to actually do that right now. Let me just fire up Blender. So basically what I want to do is I want to make a mesh that's like, is each square a meter here? So like a 1 meter wide perimeter that is, how far across is this? There is a ruler mode. All right, so so that's not a meter. That's like 7.8 meters. Okay. How big is this though? It's like okay, it's 100 meters across. It's 100 by 100 meters, and we want a 10-meter border. Okay. So we'll bring Blender over here, our old friend. And we'll delete the default shape. We'll go top-down mode. We will make a mesh that will be scaled to is there a way? I mean, I guess the thing I could do is I could just move this. So we want to take this to 50 meters and take this to X, 50 meters. There, then it's 100 meters across. Right, because if you use scale, it's relative. And I've always used scale and then been like, okay, well now how do I make it so that it's exactly these dimensions? Obviously, I can just put the vertices where I want them. All right, and then we loop cut to well, I guess if it's 100 meters across, 0.9 here is about what we want. It's such a thin perimeter. Maybe something more like that. There's no substitute just for eyeballing, right? It doesn't have to be perfect. Oh no, what did I do? I think I must have somehow escaped out of the loop cut mode. And then if we go to face select mode and select that and delete that face. Okay, amazing. What an amazing model I have made. Anyway, so we hide that and we save this. Oh yeah, so there's the blend file for the fire, for our fire animation. And then what I did with that is I just rendered out like 10 frames or something of the animation and dropped those PNGs into Godot. So where are we saving this? Models. I guess it is a model. This is going to be scenario 1 or 2 rather. Spawn area. We might need to think about organizing our models folder. Okay, so what did we end up with? Okay, so that did not quite match what we have here, but that's okay because we can scale it. Okay. Just ignore the Z fighting. It does not actually need to be visible. Right? So I don't know, does toggling visibility, will that interfere at all with the wave spawning? I don't know. I guess I will find out, won't I? Oh, interesting. So what? Hmm. Can we make this? Yeah, editable children. Okay, so that should then let me select in the enemy spawner that mesh. There we go. Okay. And then we need to set up the waves to spawn, right? So what's interesting is that this wave system allows me to set up a thing where effectively I can have a wave that doesn't spawn any enemies. And so we can use it to do a delay, right? So, I don't know what this is just called system wave because that's what we ended up calling the class. NMO, there we go. Okay, so we add an element to say what kind of enemy this is. And it doesn't know how to find that. Sorry for the flashing. I don't know why Godot does that. Enemies. Just use basic zombie here. And enemy counts it also needs to be filled out. So the first wave, we will spawn 5 zombies. Now, maybe these numbers need to be much bigger. I mean, one thing is the zombies are way too weak. We probably what I need to do is introduce kind of a really weak zombie type that is like, I don't know, something special about it that makes it really weak, and then we can use that in the tutorial to start out. And then we can do things where we like have a mixture of zombie types and stuff. It's on the list to add more types of zombies. And then so the wave timing. So this will be like, yeah, 10 seconds. The wave itself can have a delay, which means that like you don't have to do it this way. Just delete this, and then we'll just have a start delay of like 15 seconds. If I wanted to, I guess max enemies 2 will make it so that we won't spawn more than 2 until you defeat the first 2. That could be fun. And then in that case, I might bump this up to 10, and then we can do like 3. That could be good. And then wave 2, we'll do something here. What we'll do, wave 2 will be more simultaneous zombies, I think. In fact, you can do a thing where you have like one wave that's maybe a mixture of weaker and stronger zombies, but just a couple at a time. And then you can do like a big bulk. And then you could do a third wave, which has like just one, like a boss zombie, something like that. So many possibilities. If only I had more zombies. So we'll do 3, and we will delay this like also 15 seconds. The duration will be, I guess for the end wave, it doesn't really matter what the duration is, especially in a scenario where the max enemies is larger than the number of enemies that can spawn. What even is the point of the duration? I think the wave duration. One thing is allow overlap. So if you have allow overlap turned on, I don't remember if it's the preceding or the subsequent wave. But if you have allow overlap and your duration elapses, then the next wave will start while the previous wave is still having zombies. So you end up with even more zombies. Okay, so this will spawn some zombies, and hopefully they'll spawn along the perimeter. And so yeah, and then the spawn interval is the time between considering spawning zombies. Do something like that. Make it faster. And see what this does. It's the best part, seeing what it does. So first of all, yeah, this is still broken. And of course, in doing this and testing this, I'm not actually using the main focus of the game, which is building obstacles and defensive structures and those sorts of things. I just want to, you know. Ooh, look at that. Okay, but where are the zombies? Oh, right. So there's like a 15-second delay. There we go. So here's wave 1. Okay, so they spawned zombies. They shouldn't have spawned there, though. They should have spawned over here, yeah? And they're not trying to get at the survivors. And I'm not sure why. Okay, we have no pathfinding going on here. I can take out the zombies, so that's good. See, these spawned in the right place, so why didn't the other ones? And this one spawned. Okay, so what's going on with the spawner? So we have a plane selected as the spawn area for the spawner. Why? Anything interesting in the debugger? Yeah, lots of things that aren't important. Okay, let's take a look at the code for the spawner. Well, first let me save our current progress. That's a terrible description. Add crackling, fire, SFX, add spawn mesh for scenario 2. Great. Okay, so spawn areas is here. Maybe I'll make this a little bigger. Spawn areas. So how do we use spawn areas? So find random spawn position is probably the method that's being used here. So it's interesting, right? So if the array was empty, we would just spawn it at the middle of the map. That's fine. And then spawn area to use, it picks a random element from the array. And then we get a bounding box from that area. Oh, right. Okay, so the way I'm doing this now is to look at the mesh and then construct a bounding box around the mesh and then pick a spawn location in the bounding box. And that is not, that will not respect the hole that I left in the mesh. So how do we find a location on the surface of a mesh? A random location on the surface of a mesh. Yeah, how? Godot. Find random point on mesh. We have an AI suggested thing here. You select a random face from the mesh. That is a lot of work. Well, not a lot of work, but I'm wondering if there is you could recast. Oh, we could choose a random angle from a location above the area and then ray trace it to intersect. What's this? Yeah, this is not exactly what I want. In fact, a lot of those search results were about nav mesh things. Okay, a lot of discussion. Implemented by... and this is not exactly what I want because I don't want I don't want to use a nav mesh for that. I mean, I guess a thing that we could do is essentially do what I'm doing now, but one level deeper, right? So we could... Ooh. I have an idea. So I don't... Instead of changing any of the code, I can change how I'm approaching the problem, right? So first of all, close this file because this file is it's gonna die. We are gonna remove this, and instead of trying to build one mesh and spawn, like have it choose a random location, we've already solved this problem in a different way, which is the enemy spawner can take multiple mesh instances. So what I do is I create slots here, and then we're going to add a mesh instance and add a mesh that is going to be a plain mesh, and it's gonna have a size, so it's gonna be like 10 meters by 100 meters, and it's gonna be right over here. And then we're going to duplicate that and move that move that over to this side. And duplicate it again. I'm gonna give these names, right? So this is gonna be spawn surface 1. If I would have thought of this before, then I would have gotten that for free, like the numbering. That's fine. Oops. 3. So 3 here. We're going to... I guess I could just rotate it. No, not that way. This way. And then move it. Like so. And then duplicate. And move it down here. Bonus points, because we have overlapping areas in the corners, and it's going to randomly select from one of the 4 surfaces. that is going to increase the probability that the zombies will specifically spawn in the corners slightly, which could you could think of as a feature. So the other way of doing this, kind of going the other direction, would be, yeah, you can assign one mesh, and then what we could do is we can, in the code, oh, you have a mesh, how many faces does it have? And then choose a random face, and then create a bounding box around the face, and then spawn within that area. Alternatively, if you didn't want to do the whole bounding box, yeah, it'd be a hassle. It's fine. It's fine. Okay, so if I run this now, I know we have issues still with the zombies not pathfinding, and we still have this bug where the zombies are, or we're loading, we're being forced to replay the first level. Oh, and we should hide the services. Although that's kind of a cool effect with the Z fighting and the fog. Okay. But why did you spawn here? Why did you spawn here? Why are you spawning here? Okay. Well, fix one problem, reveal another. So we are picking one of the 4 spawn areas, and then we're creating a bounding box. Right, bounds is this get AABB from that mesh that we're selecting, that mesh instance 3D. And then we are defining a position I guess I will turn on log level debugging and or debug level logging and see what that tells us. The flashing I really hate, but what are you gonna do? Oh, we already had debug level logging because that's 1. Okay, so let me undo that because we don't want trace. That would be way too much. Okay, so in the logs, yeah, local spawn position, -1, -29. Is there a way to see coordinates? I mean, I guess if it's -1, -29. So like, what is your transform? 44 Z. It's like over here. Let's check something out here. So logger.debug. Sure, we can do that. We can do that. Yeah, that might be enough to give us some idea of what's going on here. Let's run that. And deal with this. So what's interesting? That was, yeah. So what's interesting is that with this, I mean, I don't feel like the zombies ever don't spawn in that area. So I wonder what's different with this situation. To be start. Oh, right. So it's gonna take some time before the zombies spawn in, right? Okay. So here's one, and that feels like already not in bounds. Let's get, there we go. So this one is definitely not in the bounds that we set up. So selected spawn area, spawn surface 3, right? Spawn surface 3. That's this one. Spawn area bounds, -5, -50 to 10, 100. So, so it's been an hour. Twitch is going to want to run some ads. So I'm going to take a break here, stretch my legs. I'll be back in a couple minutes, and we'll